In the quiet embrace of the earth, where the ground feels firm beneath our feet, there lies an unassuming promise of stability. It is a promise that, for the most part, the earth keeps faithfully. Yet, there have been moments in history when this promise has been broken and the solid ground has shifted with a force that reshapes lives in an instant. These are moments when the earth itself seems to turn against us, and what was once secure becomes unpredictably fragile. The ground beneath us is often taken for granted. It serves as the foundation for our homes, our cities, and the paths we tread daily. Yet, this seemingly steadfast surface is, in places, more dynamic than we might care to acknowledge. Deep beneath the Earth's crust, immense forces are at play. Tectonic plates, vast slabs of rock upon which continents rest, drift imperceptibly over the semi-fluid mantle. Their movements are slow, accumulating over time in a dance of immense geological proportions. Most days, these shifts are subtle, unnoticed by those living above. However, when tension between these plates reaches a tipping point, the energy released can be both immense and disruptive. An earthquake is the result of these sudden releases of energy, rippling through the ground, turning the very earth against those who reside upon it. The surface quivers, structures tremble, and in mere moments, landscapes are irrevocably altered. In some regions, these tectonic movements are part of the natural rhythm of life. Communities have grown accustomed to the occasional tremor, adapting their architecture and practices to withstand the Earth's sporadic unrest. In Japan, for instance, buildings are designed with a certain flexibility, allowing them to sway rather than shatter under seismic stress. Here, the knowledge of the Earth's potential volatility is woven into the cultural consciousness, a testament to humanity's ability to coexist with the forces of nature. Yet, there are times when the magnitude of an earthquake exceeds anticipation. These are the moments that leave an indelible mark on history. Events where entire cities have been reshaped and societies have had to rebuild, both physically and socially. The Earth, in these instances, is not merely a backdrop, but an active participant in the human story, reminding us of our place in the natural world. Consider the landscapes that have been transformed by these events. The subtle shifts in terrain, the altered courses of rivers, and the new formations that arise from the Earth's upheaval. Over time, these changes become part of the natural order, adopted by flora and fauna, integrated into the environment as if they had always been there. Nature, in its patient way, absorbs these disruptions, finding a new equilibrium. For those who experience such events, the immediate aftermath is one of disorientation. Familiar landmarks may be gone, replaced by debris and a landscape that no longer fits the map of memory. Yet, amid the chaos, there is a quiet resilience that emerges. People rebuild, drawing on the shared strength of community. Over time, the scars left by the Earth's movement begin to heal, both in the physical environment and in the collective consciousness of those affected. There is a profound lesson in this interplay between destruction and renewal. It speaks to the transient nature of human constructs and the enduring power of the natural world. We are reminded that, while we may shape the land to fit our needs, the Earth has an agency all its own. This dynamic relationship is at the heart of many cultures, where stories of earth and sky, of creation and destruction, are woven into the myths that explain the world. In these quiet reflections on the Earth's shifting nature, we find space to ponder our own place within this vast, interconnected system. The ground may turn against us from time to time, but it also provides the foundation upon which we build our lives. It is a reminder of the balance that exists within the natural world, a balance that is both delicate and robust. As we prepare to explore specific instances where the ground's unexpected movements have altered the course of history, let us carry with us this understanding of interconnectedness. Each event is a chapter in a larger story, one that spans the breadth of human experience and the depths of geological time. With this perspective, we can appreciate the moments when the Earth has shifted beneath our feet, not merely as disasters, but as part of the ever-unfolding narrative of life on this planet. A narrative that continues to evolve, shaped by the slow, steady rhythms of the Earth itself. Through this lens, we see the world anew, a place where change is constant and where the ground, though it may sometimes turn against us, ultimately supports all that we are. In the heart of Shaanxi province centuries ago, life unfolded in a manner deeply intertwined with the land itself. Here, the people carved their homes into the lowest cliffs, creating cave dwellings that offered a unique blend of protection and comfort. These homes were more than mere shelters. They were sanctuaries crafted from the earth, shaped over generations to harness the insulating properties of the loess. This fine, wind-deposited sediment, while porous and relatively soft, provided warmth in the cold months and respite from the heat of summer. The loess cliffs, golden and serene, stood as silent sentinels over the lives of those who inhabited them. Families lived, worked, and thrived within their earthen walls, engaging in agriculture that the fertile soil supported. They tended to their crops, nurtured their livestock, and engaged in the rhythms of life dictated by the seasons. The loess, with its remarkable ability to retain moisture, fed their fields and gardens, sustaining a lifestyle deeply connected with the natural cycles. Yet, beneath this tranquil existence lay a vulnerability that few could have foreseen. The loess, while stable under ordinary conditions, concealed a latent fragility. It was in this quiet landscape, on an otherwise unremarkable day in 50 that the earth began to stir. A great shudder rippled through the ground, a force that transcended human understanding. The Shaanxi earthquake, as it would come to be known, unfolded with a power both awe-inspiring and catastrophic. The scale of the collapse was vast. The tremors, quick and unyielding, reduced the once sturdy cliffs to cascades of dust and debris. In mere moments, the landscape was irrevocably altered. Homes that had stood for generations were obliterated, engulfed by the very earth from which they were hewn. The magnitude of the disaster was profound, and the loss of life was unparalleled, with estimates suggesting that hundreds of thousands perished in the upheaval. This earthquake remains the deadliest ever recorded, a testament to the tremendous forces that lurk beneath the Earth's surface. The seismic activity that caused such devastation was the result of complex geological processes. Deep within the planet, tectonic plates shift and grind, their movements imperceptible over short periods but relentless over millennia. At times, these plates become locked, tension building silently until it is released in violent bursts of energy. In the case of the Shaanxi earthquake, the sudden release of this pent-up energy sent shockwaves through the loess, amplifying the destruction. The soft, fine-grained structure of the loess cliffs, so beneficial in daily life, became a liability in the face of such seismic forces. The ground, unstable under the onslaught, crumbled with devastating effect, collapsing into the voids left by the cave dwellings and burying all within. Over time, the memory of the earthquake became woven into the cultural fabric of the region. Tales of the disaster were passed down through generations, serving as a somber reminder of nature's unpredictability. Yet, even in the wake of such calamity, life continued. The people of Shaanxi rebuilt, adapting their practices and homes, ever mindful of the lessons learned from the Earth's upheaval. The lowest cliffs, though scarred, remained a presence in the landscape. As years passed, they bore witness to the gradual return of life's rhythms, the fields once again sown and harvested. The community, resilient and enduring, found ways to coexist with the land, acknowledging its power while cherishing its gifts. The Shaanxi earthquake stands as a poignant example of the delicate balance between humanity and the natural world. It reminds us of the quiet forces that shape our planet, forces that, while often hidden, are always at work. Through these gentle movements and occasional violent outbursts, the Earth continually reshapes itself, a process that unfolds over geological timescales far beyond human comprehension. In reflecting on this event, one is drawn to consider the broader tapestry of life on Earth. The landscapes we inhabit, though seemingly permanent, are in a constant state of flux. Mountains rise and erode, rivers carve their paths, and the Earth's crust shifts imperceptibly beneath our feet. Each change, whether gradual or sudden, contributes to the ever-evolving story of our planet. As the sun sets over the lowest cliffs of Shaanxi today, it casts a warm glow on a land that has known both tranquility and turmoil. The people who call this place home continue to live with an awareness of the Earth's dynamic nature, finding harmony in the balance between appreciation and respect. In their daily lives, they embrace the knowledge that while the ground beneath us is a foundation, it is also a living, breathing entity, capable of both sustaining and challenging us in its own quiet way. In the ancient world, Antioch stood as a beacon of cultural and economic prosperity. Nestled along the Orontes River, it was a place where bustling markets and grand structures told the story of an era rich in trade and tradition. Life here unfolded in a rhythm that seemed eternal, with the city's streets a tapestry of voices and footsteps, echoing the vibrant diversity of its inhabitants. People went about their daily routines, perhaps never imagining the quiet forces gathering beneath their feet. The winter of 526 was like many others in the region. The air carried a crisp chill, and the skies often wore a blanket of gray. In homes and public spaces, fires burned to ward off the cold, their warmth a simple comfort against the season's embrace. Yet, beneath this tranquil surface, the earth was stirring, a slow, imperceptible shift that would soon unravel the fabric of life in Antioch. Deep beneath the city's foundations, tectonic plates moved with a silent determination. These colossal slabs of the Earth's crust, driven by forces incomprehensible in their magnitude, crept along their paths. The movement was gradual, almost languid, as it built tension over years and decades. This hidden dance of geology, unnoticed by those above, was a testament to the dynamic nature of our planet, a reminder of the balance maintained between stillness and upheaval. Then, in the quiet of an early spring day, the accumulated strain reached its threshold. Without warning, The ground beneath Antioch shuddered violently. Buildings swayed and then crumbled, their stones cascading down in a relentless cascade. The city's intricate network of streets, once so familiar, became a scene of chaos and confusion. Dust filled the air, and the cries of thousands merged into a single overwhelming sound. The earthquake that struck Antioch was among the earliest recorded instances of mass devastation due to seismic activity. In moments, the lives of countless individuals were altered irreversibly. The city's dense population, which had thrived in the confines of its walls, found itself vulnerable to the forces of nature. Structures that had stood for generations yielded to the Earth's relentless energy, collapsing into unrecognizable heaps. As the initial tremors subsided, a new threat emerged. Fires, sparked by the upheaval, began to spread through the city. In a place where wood was a common building material and open flames a part of daily life, the conditions were primed for disaster. The flames danced with a life of their own, feeding hungrily on the debris and reducing what remained to ash. The firestorm, driven by winds that swept through the narrow streets, completed the destruction that the earthquake had begun. Survivors of the quake faced the dual challenges of escaping the flames and finding safety amidst the ruins. The city's infrastructure, so reliant on its stone and timber, offered little refuge. Those who could fled to the open spaces beyond the city walls, seeking solace from the destruction that had engulfed their homes. In the aftermath, the scale of loss became apparent. Antioch, once a vibrant center of civilization, lay in ruins. For those who survived, the journey of recovery was daunting. The rhythm of daily life, so abruptly disrupted, needed to be rebuilt from the ground up. Communities banded together, drawing on shared resilience to navigate the challenges ahead. The ruins of Antioch served as both a reminder of the city's fragility and a testament to its enduring spirit. The earthquake of 526 left an indelible mark not only on Antioch, but also on the collective memory of humanity. It underscored the delicate balance between civilization and the natural world, a balance that, while often taken for granted, is continually in flux. The forces beneath our feet, though unseen, remain an ever-present part of the human story, shaping history in ways both profound and subtle. In reflecting on Antioch's fate, one is reminded of the quiet interplay between stability and change. The city's experience serves as a gentle reminder of the Earth's power and the resilience of those who call it home. Though the structures may fall and the fires rage, the spirit of a place endures, woven into the fabric of time by those who remember and rebuild. And so, as the years passed, Antioch rose once more from its ashes, a testament to the enduring strength of human communities. The lessons of the past, quietly etched into the stones and stories of the city, continue to inform the present. In the quiet reflection of these events, we find a deeper appreciation for the world we inhabit, a world where each moment is part of a larger, ever-unfolding narrative. In the heart of the medieval world, Aleppo was a city of stone. Its fortifications stood as a testament to the skills and ambitions of countless generations, each layer of masonry a silent witness to the passage of time. The city's dense stone housing, built to weather the ages, created a labyrinth of narrow lanes and shaded courtyards where life thrived. These stones, sun-warmed by day and cool by night, offered a sense of permanence and security. But beneath this sturdy facade lay a quiet vulnerability. The stones, though resilient against the elements and human conflict, were less forgiving when the earth itself began to shift. The city was situated in a region where tectonic plates met, where the Earth's crust held a potential energy that could be unleashed without warning. It was a delicate balance, one that had held for centuries, but was always subject to change. In the year 1138, this balance was disrupted. The ground beneath Aleppo stirred, and with it, the city's stillness was shattered. The tremors arrived in waves, each one more insistent than the last, as if the earth were drawing breath before releasing a deep, resonant sigh. The stone edifices that had stood firm for generations began to sway, their solid forms betraying a vulnerability to the unseen forces below. As the tremors intensified, the very architecture that defined Aleppo became its undoing. The dense housing, designed to maximize space within the city's walls, offered little flexibility in the face of shifting ground. Walls that had seemed indomitable cracked and collapsed, their tightly packed stones scattering across the narrow streets. Towers and minarets, once proud sentinels of the skyline, toppled as their foundations gave way. The repeated shocks echoed through the city, each one compounding the damage of the last. These were not isolated tremors, but a sequence of quakes, each one a reminder of the Earth's unpredictable nature. The medieval fortifications, symbols of human ingenuity, were no match for the relentless, patient power of geological forces. As the ground settled, the city lay in ruins, its once vibrant life stilled by the quiet aftermath of destruction. In the days that followed, the people of Aleppo emerged from the wreckage to find their city transformed. The familiar landscape of stone and shadow had been altered, the once familiar pathways obscured by debris. Yet, amid the devastation, there was a resilience that spoke to the enduring spirit of the inhabitants. The stones, though scattered, would be gathered again. The city would be rebuilt, its fortifications reimagined to better withstand the caprices of the earth. This cycle of destruction and renewal is a quiet testament to the resilience of human communities. Aleppo, like many ancient cities, has experienced the slow, inexorable forces of nature at work. The earthquakes of 1138 were a reminder of the delicate balance between human endeavor and the natural world, a balance that is maintained over centuries, yet can be disrupted in moments. In contemplating the events that unfolded in Aleppo, one is drawn into the broader tapestry of history, where the human experience is intertwined with the Earth's own narrative. Each stone that was dislodged and each wall that fell is a chapter in the ongoing story of a city that has known both triumph and tragedy. This story, though marked by moments of upheaval, is ultimately one of continuity and quiet perseverance. In the end, the stones of Aleppo, though momentarily scattered, remain a part of the landscape. They are gathered, shaped, and set anew, as they have been countless times before. Through these acts of rebuilding, the city continues to endure, its history etched into the very fabric of its structures. The memory of the 1138 earthquake, though distant, is preserved in the city's stones, a subtle reminder of the forces that shape our world and the resilience that defines the human spirit. In the soft, early light of a November morning in 1755, the city of Lisbon began its day with a sense of quiet routine. The streets were alive with the gentle hum of life, as people moved purposefully towards their places of worship. It was All Saints' Day, a sacred time for reflection and gathering. The city's churches, grand and numerous, were filled with congregants lost in the solemnity of the Mass. The air was still, punctuated only by the gentle murmur of prayers and the occasional tolling of bells. Yet, beneath this peaceful surface, the earth was preparing to speak in its own, far more forceful manner. Without warning, the ground beneath Lisbon began to tremble, gently at first, as if merely stirring from a long slumber. But within moments, the tremors grew in intensity, shaking the very foundations of the city. Those inside the churches had little time to react as the walls began to crack and the roofs to buckle. In an instant, places of sanctuary became scenes of chaos, as stone and timber cascaded downwards, engulfing the faithful in a shroud of dust and debris. The city that had welcomed the morning with quiet reverence now echoed with the sound of its own unraveling. As buildings collapsed, the air grew thick with the cries of panic and the groans of structures giving way. The streets filled with people seeking escape, their footfalls mingling with the rumbling earth. Within minutes, Lisbon's landscape was transformed. The ground heaved and shifted, leaving once familiar streets unrecognizable. Those who had been indoors stumbled into the open, eyes wide with disbelief, as the city seemed to fold in upon itself. The tremor's relentless power left behind a tapestry of ruin, where the proud architecture of Lisbon's past lay in jagged heaps. Yet, the Earth's symphony was not yet complete. As the tremors subsided, a new threat emerged from the depths. Fires, sparked by overturned candles and disrupted hearths, began to spread. Flames licked hungrily at the remnants of wooden structures, consuming all in their path with an unquenchable appetite. The people of Lisbon, already reeling from the quake, now found themselves enveloped in a wave of heat and smoke. The city's skyline, once a silhouette of towers and steeples, now glowed ominously, as if the very heavens had caught fire. The fires raged unchecked, their progress relentless as they turned homes and livelihoods to ash. The air grew thick with acrid smoke, a choking reminder of nature's indifference. As day turned to night, the flames cast a flickering light over the city, illuminating the despair etched on the faces of those who watched helplessly. The fire's roar was a ceaseless companion, a grim counterpoint to the silence that followed the quake. In this inferno, Lisbon's identity was rewritten, its past reduced to cinders. As if the devastation of earth and fire were not enough, the ocean itself joined the chorus of calamity. The waters off Lisbon's coast, disturbed by the quake's might, began to recede, revealing the seabed in an eerie spectacle. Those who gathered on the shore watched in awe, unaware of the danger that loomed. Moments later, the sea returned with a vengeance, a towering wall of water that swept inland with unstoppable force. This tsunami, a final act in the day's tragedy, surged through the city, obliterating what little the quake and fire had spared. The waters raged through Lisbon's streets, sweeping away debris and lives with equal disregard. Buildings that had withstood the earlier assaults now crumbled under the onslaught, their remnants carried off by the churning tide. The people of Lisbon, already battered and weary, were left clinging to whatever refuge they could find. In this deluge, the city was once more transformed, its contours redrawn by the brute force of nature's hand. As the waters receded, a profound silence settled over Lisbon. The city that had begun the day with such promise now lay in ruins, its future uncertain. The scale of destruction was immense, the loss of life and limb incalculable. Yet, Amidst the devastation, there was a resilience, a quiet determination to endure and rebuild. The people of Lisbon, though humbled by the forces that had reshaped their world, would rise once more, their spirit unbroken. In the aftermath of the earthquake, fire, and flood, Lisbon became a testament to the power of nature and the fragility of human endeavor. The city's story, etched into the memories of its survivors, served as a reminder of the delicate balance that binds the world together. Over time, Lisbon would be rebuilt, its streets and structures a blend of old and new. Yet, the echoes of that day in 1755 would linger, a whispered caution that beneath the surface of everyday life, the earth holds its own secrets, waiting patiently to reveal them. In the rolling hills of southern Italy, the year 1783 brought forth a quiet unease. The landscape, characterized by its rugged terrain and scattered villages, seemed ever-enduring. Yet, beneath its surface lay tensions that would soon unravel in a manner unforeseen by its inhabitants. It was a time when the land itself would resist its own stillness, shaking the foundations of life and leading to a series of events that would reshape the region's history. The earth first trembled in February, the ground moving in a dance both unexpected and unsettling. This was not a singular event, but the beginning of a sequence that would stretch over weeks. Each tremor whispered of deeper unrest, as if the very bedrock was sighing in its age-old slumber. The people of Calabria and Messina, accustomed to the rhythm of the earth, now found themselves listening to a new and dissonant tune. It was as if the land were speaking, though its language was one of upheaval. The initial shock was marked by a violent heaving, a reminder of the forces that lay beneath. Buildings, crafted with care and stone, found themselves at odds with the earth's newfound motion. Walls cracked and homes collapsed, leaving communities exposed to the elements and uncertainty. In the days that followed, aftershocks continued to ripple through the region. Each tremor added to the sense of instability, as if the very earth was reconsidering its form. As the sequence progressed, the landscape itself began to change. Hillsides, once steadfast, gave way to landslides that swept through valleys with a silent ferocity. These landslides carried with them not just soil and rock, but the remnants of human habitation, homes, roads, and the delicate threads of community life. The reshaping of the land brought about new challenges, altering the paths of rivers and the contours of fields. It was a transformation both physical and symbolic, as if the earth sought to remind its inhabitants of their transient place upon its surface. In the wake of these physical changes, a quieter but equally insidious challenge emerged. Disease began to spread, carried by the disruption of familiar patterns and the influx of debris and decay. Water sources, once reliable, became tainted, and the air, heavy with dust, carried pathogens that found easy hosts in weakened bodies. Illness crept through the population, its spread facilitated by the collapse of infrastructure and the close quarters of makeshift shelters. As the weeks wore on, the social fabric of Calabria and Messina began to fray. Communities, once bound by tradition and kinship, found themselves tested by the relentless sequence of events. Resources, already scarce, became even more precious, and the struggle for survival took on new dimensions. In this atmosphere of uncertainty, social order began to break down. Trust, once a cornerstone of village life, became a casualty of the pervasive fear and desperation. Yet, amidst the chaos, there were moments of quiet resilience. Neighbors came together, sharing what little they had and offering comfort where it was most needed. The human spirit, though tested, found ways to endure. Stories of survival and solidarity became woven into the fabric of the region's history. Reminders that even in the face of nature's most formidable forces, there is room for compassion and hope. The sequence of earthquakes that began in 1783 left an indelible mark on southern Italy. The land itself bore the scars of its restless movement, reshaped by the forces that lay beneath its surface. For those who lived through these events, the memory of the Earth's upheaval lingered, a testament to the delicate balance between humanity and the natural world. As time passed, the landscape gradually settled into a new form, its contours altered, but its essence unchanged. In the years that followed, Calabria and Messina would rebuild, their communities finding new footholds on the land they called home. The lessons of 1783, carried forward through generations, served as a quiet reminder of the Earth's potential for both destruction and renewal. It was a reminder, too, of the resilience inherent in the human spirit, a resilience that continues to endure in the face of nature's ever-unfolding story. In the early evening of March 26, 1812, the city of Caracas found itself wrapped in the serene anticipation of Holy Thursday. The air was filled with a gentle hum of devotion, as families gathered in the heart of their colonial city, preparing to mark the solemnity of the Easter celebrations. The streets, lined with Spanish-style facades, bore witness to a community deeply rooted in tradition and faith. Unbeknownst to them, the ground beneath their feet was slowly, imperceptibly building towards a moment that would redefine their future. Caracas, at this time, was a city characterized by its colonial architecture, consisting of grand churches and tightly packed buildings. These structures, with their thick adobe walls and red-tiled roofs, had stood for decades, seemingly eternal, against the backdrop of the Venezuelan landscape. Yet, these very buildings, symbols of permanence and stability, would soon reveal their vulnerability. As the evening progressed, the earth began to stir. At first, it was a subtle movement, barely noticeable amidst the city's lively preparation for the festival. However, this tranquility was soon shattered. The ground shook with a force that was both sudden and unrelenting, causing the very foundations of the city to buckle and fail. In mere moments, the colonial buildings that had stood as bastions of the community crumbled, their once sturdy walls reduced to rubble and dust. The quake, estimated to have been a magnitude of 7.7, left destruction in its wake. Historical accounts describe the collapse of numerous churches, including the city's Grand Cathedral, where many had gathered for the Holy Thursday service. The loss was immense, both in terms of human life and cultural heritage. The devout and the curious alike found themselves amidst the ruins of their city, their lives irreversibly altered by the Earth's indiscriminate power. In the aftermath, the city of Caracas was a tableau of devastation. The evening's religious observance had transformed into a night of mourning and confusion. Survivors, disoriented and grief-stricken, navigated the wreckage, searching for loved ones and a sense of normalcy that had been so abruptly taken from them. The air, once filled with the sounds of celebration, was now heavy with the cries of the afflicted and the silence of those lost. Beyond the immediate physical destruction, the earthquake's impact rippled through Venezuela's political landscape. At the time, the country was in the throes of seeking independence from Spanish rule. The devastation in Caracas, a key center of political and economic activity, complicated these burgeoning aspirations. Resources that could have supported the independence movement were now diverted to rebuilding efforts, slowing the momentum of the revolution. Despite this setback, the earthquake also had a unifying effect. The shared tragedy fostered a renewed sense of community and determination among the survivors. In the face of adversity, the people of Caracas and beyond found common cause in the effort to rebuild and, ultimately, to pursue their vision of a sovereign nation. The disaster, while a moment of profound loss, also became a catalyst for change, shaping the resolve of a people determined to reclaim their future. As time passed, Caracas began to heal. The rebuilding process was slow, marked by both practical challenges and the emotional toll of reconstructing lives amidst the memory of such a profound disaster. New structures rose from the rubble, designed with lessons learned from the earthquake, blending resilience with the traditional aesthetic that defined the city's architectural heritage. In reflecting on the Caracas earthquake of 1812, one is reminded of the delicate balance that exists between human endeavor and the natural world. The city, with its colonial charm and vibrant community, stood as a testament to human achievement, yet in a matter of minutes, the earth reminded all of its underlying power, capable of reshaping lives and landscapes with silent disregard. The story of Caracas, therefore, is one of both vulnerability and resilience. It highlights the unpredictable nature of our world, where moments of peace can swiftly give way to chaos, and how from the ashes of destruction, new chapters in history are written. As the city and its people moved forward, they carried with them the memory of that fateful night, a reminder of their past, and an enduring symbol of their strength. In the quietude of late evening, as the sun began its descent beyond the horizon, the coastal town of Arica lay nestled along the gentle curve of Chile's shoreline. Life here was marked by the rhythmic ebb and flow of the Pacific Ocean, a vast expanse of water that stretched beyond the limits of sight. It was a serene setting, where the inhabitants lived in harmony with the land and sea, their lives intertwined with the natural rhythms of the earth. On an ordinary day in 1868, this tranquil scene was suddenly disrupted by a force of unimaginable power. The ground beneath Arica began to tremble, a subtle vibration that quickly grew into a violent upheaval. The earth shook with a ferocity that defied comprehension, as if the very fabric of the land was being torn apart. This was one of the largest earthquakes ever recorded, a seismic event that would leave an indelible mark on the history of the region. The mechanics of such an earthquake lie deep beneath the surface, where tectonic plates converge and interact. Along the west coast of South America, the Nazca Plate is slowly forced beneath the South American plate, a process known as subduction. Over centuries, immense stress accumulates at this boundary until it is released in a sudden, powerful jolt. In 1868, this release generated an earthquake of staggering magnitude, its impact felt both locally and across the vast waters of the Pacific. As the tremors subsided, the immediate aftermath revealed a landscape forever altered. Buildings that once stood firm were reduced to rubble, and the familiar layout of the town was obscured by debris. Yet, the true extent of the disaster was not confined to the land alone. The sea, too, had been stirred to life, as the displacement of the ocean floor generated a series of tsunamis. These waves, born from the depths, radiated outwards with relentless energy. Their journey was long and far-reaching, traversing the Pacific Ocean to touch distant shores. In Hawaii, New Zealand, and beyond, the effects were felt, a testament to the interconnected nature of our world. The tsunamis carried with them the story of Arica, a reminder of the events that had unfolded on that distant evening. The passage of time allowed the people of Arica to rebuild, to restore some semblance of normalcy to their lives. Yet, the memory of the earthquake and its aftermath lingered, a quiet reminder of the forces that shape our world. The Earth's crust, though seemingly solid and unyielding, is in a state of constant flux. Over long epochs, the movements of tectonic plates reshape the surface, creating mountains, valleys, and occasionally unleashing the destructive power of an earthquake. In the years that followed, the scientific community sought to understand these natural phenomena more deeply. The study of seismology advanced as researchers pieced together the clues left by the Arica earthquake and others like it. Through careful observation and measurement, they began to uncover the patterns and processes that govern the Earth's seismic activity. This knowledge, though still incomplete, provides a window into the dynamic nature of our planet. It reminds us that the forces of nature operate on a scale far beyond human perception, unfolding over vast stretches of time. The earthquake of 1868, while a momentary event in the grand scheme of Earth's history, offers insights into the delicate balance of geological processes. Today, Arica stands as a testament to resilience and adaptation. The town has grown and evolved, its people continuing to live in harmony with the land and sea. The memory of the earthquake is woven into the fabric of the community, a shared history that underscores the importance of understanding and respecting the environment. As the sun sets once more over the Pacific, the gentle sound of waves lapping against the shore serves as a reminder of the ocean's vastness and power. The story of Arica, with its lessons of change and continuity, echoes quietly across the water, a testament to the enduring relationship between humanity and the natural world. In the gentle embrace of northeast India, where the Brahmaputra River winds through the landscape, the ground once stirred in a way that few had seen before. It was the year 1897, a time when the earth beneath Assam shifted with an extraordinary force. This was not the subtle rumble of distant thunder, nor the gentle swaying of trees in a breeze. Instead, the very land itself seemed to roll like ocean waves, visible to the eye, transforming the familiar into the unfamiliar in mere moments. The phenomenon of ground waves is a rare and unsettling sight. As the seismic energy traveled through the earth, the surface undulated, lifting and dropping with a force that defied the solidity one expects of the ground. Homes that had stood for generations were lifted from their foundations, only to crash back down with a shuddering finality. The structures, not designed for such upheaval, crumbled under the strain, leaving little more than rubble where they once stood. In this region, villages dotted the landscape, each a small world unto itself, with homes and lives intricately woven together. The earthquake, however, did not discriminate. It erased entire villages from the map, leaving behind a landscape as altered as the lives of those who inhabited it. The earth had moved, and with it, the course of countless lives had been irrevocably changed. The science behind such earthquakes is as fascinating as it is complex. Beneath the Earth's crust lie tectonic plates, immense slabs of rock that shift and jostle over time. It is at their boundaries where pressure quietly builds, sometimes for centuries, until it is released with a force that can reshape the surface of the planet. The 1897 Assam earthquake was a result of such pressures, a reminder of the dynamic nature of our world, where change is constant, though often imperceptibly slow. When the quake struck, it was not just the ground that was affected. Rivers changed their courses, landslides redefined the contours of hills, and forests were felled as if by an unseen hand. The landscape that emerged in the aftermath was one simultaneously familiar and alien, a testament to the power of geological forces at work beneath our feet. The people of Assam, accustomed to the rhythms of their land, found themselves in the midst of an unexpected transformation. The earth that had supported their lives, their agriculture, and their communities had shifted in ways that would take years to fully comprehend. Yet, as is often the case with such natural events, life continued, adapting to the new realities imposed by nature's quiet insistence on change. In the absence of modern monitoring equipment, much of what we know about this earthquake comes from first-hand accounts and the detailed observations recorded by those who witnessed its effects. These narratives paint a picture of both devastation and resilience, of a region forced to rebuild from the ground up, literally and figuratively. From the perspective of time, the 1897 Assam earthquake serves as a reminder of the Earth's inherent unpredictability. While scientific advancements have greatly enhanced our understanding of seismic activity, the ability to predict such events with precision remains elusive. Instead, we are left to marvel at the immense forces at play within our planet, forces that, while largely hidden from view, shape the world in which we live. As the dust settled in the aftermath of the quake, the people of Assam began the slow process of reconstruction. New homes were built, this time with an eye towards resilience, incorporating lessons learned from the Earth's unexpected display of power. The land, too, began its own recovery, with rivers carving new paths and vegetation gradually reclaiming spaces that had been laid bare. In the years that followed, the memory of the earthquake lingered in the collective consciousness, a story passed from one generation to the next. It became a part of the region's history, a chapter in the ongoing narrative of a land shaped by both time and tectonics. The ground that had once heaved and rolled like the sea had settled once more, yet the lessons it imparted remained. Thus, the tale of the 1897 Assam earthquake is not just a story of destruction, but also one of adaptation and endurance. It is a testament to the resilience of both the land and its people, a reminder of the delicate balance that defines our existence on this ever-changing planet. As we continue to study and strive to understand the forces that govern our world, we do so with the knowledge that change, while often slow and subtle, is the one constant we can rely upon. In the early morning hours of April 18, 1906, the city of San Francisco lay under the gentle embrace of dawn's first light. Streets that would soon be bustling remained quiet, lined with buildings that stood tall and proud against the horizon. Yet, beneath this facade of tranquility, forces were at play that would soon alter the cityscape profoundly and irreversibly. The San Andreas Fault, a vast fracture in the Earth's crust, extends for hundreds of miles along the Californian coast. It is here, along this hidden boundary, that the Pacific Plate and the North American Plate meet, their slow, relentless movements imperceptible to daily life. Over centuries, tension builds silently, each millimeter of shift storing potential energy, waiting for release. On that fateful morning, the accumulated strain reached a breaking point, and the ground began to move. The initial tremor, though brief, was unmistakably powerful. Buildings, symbolic of human endeavor, swayed precariously, their foundations tested by the upheaval. As the shaking intensified, the city experienced a series of jolts, each more severe than the last. Structures that had stood for decades were reduced to rubble in a matter of seconds. Streets cracked open, revealing the raw earth beneath, and the city's once familiar layout was obscured by dust and debris. In the immediate aftermath, as silence sought to reclaim the city, fires ignited across San Francisco. Gas mains, ruptured by the quake's force, fed the flames that quickly spread, unfettered by the usual constraints of firefighting efforts. The water mains, essential for quelling such outbreaks, had been severed, leaving the city vulnerable to the growing infernos. For 3 days the fires raged, consuming entire neighborhoods, their glow visible from miles away. The true scope of the disaster lay not only in the physical destruction, but in the profound impact on the people who called San Francisco home. Thousands were displaced, their lives irrevocably altered. Makeshift camps sprang up in parks and open spaces, providing temporary refuge amidst the chaos. As the days passed, the city's residents began to assess the loss, both personal and communal. The death toll, initially underestimated, grew as the extent of the devastation became clear. In the confusion that followed, exact numbers were difficult to ascertain, but estimates suggest that several thousand lives were lost. The tragedy was compounded by the challenges of communication and bureaucracy in the early 20th century. Reports varied, and the true human cost remained somewhat obscured by the passage of time. Yet, amidst the ruins, a spirit of resilience emerged. As the fires finally subsided, efforts to rebuild began almost immediately. The citizens of San Francisco, with determination and a sense of unity, sought to restore their city. Buildings rose again from the ashes, streets were cleared and repaved, and life, in its persistent way, continued. In the years that followed, the memory of the 1906 earthquake shaped the city's identity and its approach to urban planning. Building codes were revised, taking into account the lessons learned from the disaster. The knowledge of the tectonic forces beneath served as a sobering reminder of nature's power and the delicate balance upon which human settlements rest. San Francisco's transformation post-earthquake was not just architectural, but also sociocultural. The city became a testament to human adaptability, a symbol of hope and renewal. It stood as a reminder of the delicate interplay between the Earth's dynamic systems and the societies that inhabit its surface. As modern San Francisco thrives, the remnants of that morning in 1906 linger in the collective memory, quietly influencing decisions and designs. The city's landscape, shaped by seismic forces, continues to evolve, each new development paying homage to the resilience of its past. Thus, the story of San Francisco in 1906 is one of profound change, where the Earth's movements reshaped not just the physical, but the very spirit of the city. Through the lens of history, we see not only the challenges it faced, but the enduring strength it fostered, a quiet testament to the resilience of human spirit amidst the vast, slow rhythms of the natural world. In the stillness of a winter night in 1908, the region of Messina and Reggio Calabria lay in slumber, wrapped in the quietude that blankets coastal towns. The sea, a gentle whisper against the shore, reflected a sky dotted with cold stars. Families across the strait found solace in their homes, unaware of the forces gathering beneath them, hidden from sight yet profoundly impactful. Beneath the surface, the tectonic plates, ever restless in their subterranean dance, had reached a tipping point. The earth beneath Messina and Reggio, known for its seismic activity, was poised for a significant shift. The boundary between the African and Eurasian plates, a zone fraught with geological tension, harbored the potential for dramatic release. It was a quiet, inevitable process, stretching back over millennia, unnoticed by those who lived above. As the clock neared dawn, the ground began its tremor. It was a subtle, almost imperceptible movement at first, a gentle reminder of the Earth's constant motion. But within moments, the subtlety turned to violence. The Earth convulsed with a force that defied comprehension, shaking the towns awake with a ferocity that shattered the stillness of the night. Buildings, long-standing and seemingly solid, began to crumble, their foundations undone by the unyielding energy released from below. The structures of Messina and Reggio, many of which were composed of heavy stone, succumbed to the seismic waves. Walls buckled and roofs collapsed, sending debris cascading into the narrow streets below. It was a scene of chaos rendered by nature's hand, as the familiar world disintegrated in mere moments. The air filled with dust and the sound of destruction, a cacophony of collapsing architecture. Amidst the turmoil, another force was quietly at work. The earthquake had not only shaken the land, but had also displaced the sea. The waters of the Strait of Messina, disturbed by the seismic activity, began to recede and gather their strength. Within minutes, a tsunami surged forth, a wall of water that moved with a silent inevitability towards the already shattered coastline. The waves struck with unrelenting power, sweeping over the towns with an indifferent force. They carried with them the remnants of human endeavor, the relics of lives lived and communities built. The sea, once a source of sustenance and trade, now became an agent of further devastation. As the water receded, it left behind a landscape transformed, marked by the dual forces of earth and sea. In the aftermath, the region lay in ruins, its future forever altered by the night's events. Messina and Reggio, once vibrant nodes of activity, were reduced to echoes of their former selves. The human cost was immense, with lives lost and families displaced, a testament to the vulnerability of human existence amidst the vast, indifferent processes of nature. Recovery in the wake of such destruction was slow and fraught with challenges. The rebuilding of homes and communities required not only material resources, but a resilience of spirit. Yet, even as the towns began to reconstruct their physical structures, the memory of that night remained, a reminder of the dynamic, often unpredictable earth beneath their feet. The disaster also left its mark on the scientific community, prompting further study into the causes and effects of such seismic events. It served as a catalyst for advancements in the understanding of tectonic movements and the potential for early warning systems, a quiet but significant step towards mitigating future impacts. As years passed, the region grew anew, embracing both its past and its capacity for renewal. The sea returned to its rhythmic ebb and flow, the land to its quiet stability. The story of Messina and Reggio in 1908 became a part of the broader narrative of human resilience in the face of natural forces, a chapter in the ongoing interplay between the earth and its inhabitants. And so, the land continued its existence, marked by the passage of time and the quiet accumulation of change. The events of that December night remained a testament to the enduring relationship between humanity and the planet, a relationship defined by both fragility and strength. With each sunrise, the towns awakened anew, carrying forward the lessons of the past into the vast, unfolding future. In the early afternoon of the 1st of September 1923, the cities of Tokyo and Yokohama lay under a sky that was deceptively serene. The streets bustled with the quiet hum of daily life as people went about their routines, unaware of the forces soon to unfold beneath them. The tranquility of that moment stood in stark contrast to the cataclysm that was about to transform these vibrant urban landscapes. Deep beneath Japan, the tectonic plates were poised in a delicate balance, a silent dance that had endured for millennia. The Pacific Plate and the Philippine Sea Plate are locked in a persistent struggle with the continental crust of the Eurasian Plate. Over time, immense pressures built up along this boundary, the likes of which could only be imagined by those far removed from the Earth's restless depths. When these forces finally overcame the friction holding them in check, the ground above was shaken by a seismic wave of tremendous energy, altering the course of history for Tokyo and Yokohama. The initial tremors reverberated through the earth, a subtle forewarning that quickly gave way to more violent convulsions. Buildings swayed and then buckled, their structures succumbing to the relentless shaking. In mere minutes, the landscape was irrevocably changed, as homes, businesses, and lives were swallowed by the chaos. This was not an uncommon tale for a region that lay upon the volatile Pacific Ring of Fire, yet the scale of destruction was unlike anything witnessed before. As the dust settled, the city's infrastructure lay in ruins. Tokyo, a city of modern aspirations, and Yokohama, its bustling port, were both left vulnerable and exposed. The earthquake, however, was merely the prelude to a catastrophe of even greater magnitude. Fires, sparked by overturned stoves and fractured gas lines, began to spread with alarming speed, feeding hungrily on the wooden structures that defined much of the urban sprawl. The winds, which had been a gentle breeze earlier in the day, now fanned the flames into ferocious firestorms. These infernos swept through neighborhoods with an unstoppable fury, consuming everything in their path. Attempts to combat the blaze were hampered by the destruction of the water mains and the disarray that gripped the emergency services. It was as though the very air itself had turned against the inhabitants, who now scrambled to escape the relentless advance of fire. In the midst of this apocalyptic scene, the human response was a testament to both the resilience and fragility of society. People gathered in open spaces, seeking refuge from the encroaching flames. Parks and riversides became makeshift sanctuaries, though even these havens were not immune to the creeping tendrils of fire. The populace was caught in a desperate struggle for survival, as the city they had known was systematically dismantled around them. The calamity laid bare the vulnerabilities inherent in the urban environment. The density that had once been a symbol of progress now became a crucible in which the residents were trapped. Streets that had been arteries of commerce and culture became barriers to escape, choked with debris and engulfed in smoke. Communications were severed, and with them, the ability to coordinate rescue efforts was critically impaired. In the days that followed, the scale of the disaster became increasingly apparent. Thousands were left homeless, their lives reduced to rubble and ash. The death toll climbed steadily as the true extent of the destruction was revealed. Yet amidst the ruins, there emerged stories of tenacity and hope. Communities, bereft of their material possessions, rallied together, offering support and solace to one another in the face of overwhelming adversity. The Great Kanto earthquake, as it came to be known, was a profound reminder of nature's indifference to human endeavor. It exposed the delicate balance between humanity's ambitions and the forces of the natural world. The lessons learned from this disaster would shape future building practices and disaster preparedness, leaving a lasting legacy on the region's development. As time passed and the cities began to rebuild, the memory of that fateful day lingered, a silent testament to the fragility of human constructs when faced with the elemental forces of nature. The ground beneath Tokyo and Yokohama may have settled, but the echoes of that day continue to resonate, a reminder of the enduring interplay between the earth and its inhabitants. The lessons from the past serve as a quiet guardian, guiding the present and future generations as they navigate the uncertainties of a world in constant motion. In the quiet hours of the night, Ashgabat lay under a serene sky, its streets emptier than usual, as if the city itself were holding its breath. Desert air wrapped around the buildings, whispering through the narrow alleys that ran between the Soviet-era apartments. This was a city with a past rooted in both ancient traditions and the ambitions of a new world order. Its people, accustomed to the rhythms of life in a landscape where extremes of temperature were common, went about their lives with a measured pace. Beneath this calm surface, however, a different kind of energy was gathering. Deep underground, tectonic plates moved subtly yet inexorably, their motions imperceptible to human senses. These plates, massive slabs of the Earth's lithosphere, are in constant slow motion, their interactions shaping the world above over millions of years. On this particular night, the stresses and strains accumulated over time reached a critical point. The sudden release of energy shifted the ground with a force that would reshape the city in an instant. Buildings that had stood solid for years began to tremble, their foundations struggling against the seismic waves rippling through the earth. Ashgabat's architecture, a mix of modern Soviet design and traditional influences, was ill-prepared for such a test. Walls cracked and crumbled, roofs caved in, and structures that had been symbols of progress fell in clouds of dust and debris. In a matter of moments, the city found itself transformed from a place of order to one of chaos. The night concealed much of the immediate devastation. Darkness cloaked the extent of the destruction, leaving only the sounds of collapsing buildings and the cries of its inhabitants to hint at the enormity of what had occurred. Amidst the confusion, the city's infrastructure struggled to respond. Communication lines faltered, roads became impassable, and the usual connections that held the community together were severed. The human cost of this disaster was immense. Thousands of lives were lost in those brief, tumultuous moments. Families were torn apart, homes were reduced to rubble, and the survivors found themselves navigating a landscape that had become unrecognizable. For those who lived through the night, the world was irrevocably altered. In the aftermath, the city lay silent, its usual bustle replaced by an eerie stillness. In the days that followed, as the sun rose and set over the ruins, the true scale of the tragedy began to emerge. Yet, in many ways, what happened in Ashgabat remained shrouded in silence. The political climate of the time meant that information was tightly controlled. The Soviet authorities, with their focus on maintaining an image of strength and stability, were reluctant to acknowledge the full extent of the disaster. As a result, the stories of those who lived and died in Ashgabat that night were often left untold. For decades, the memory of the earthquake lingered, whispered about in hushed tones, but rarely spoken of openly. The city's recovery was gradual, a process of rebuilding that took years to complete. New structures rose from the ruins, designed to withstand the forces of nature that had so abruptly altered the city's course. Yet, the scars remained, both physical and emotional, reminders of a night when the ground itself seemed to turn against its people. As time passed, Ashgabat continued to grow and change, its skyline evolving with each new generation. The silence that enveloped the events of that night slowly began to lift, as historians and researchers pieced together the fragments of the story. Through their efforts, the experiences of those who endured the earthquake gained recognition, ensuring that the lessons of the past were not forgotten. Today, Ashgabat stands as a testament to resilience, its streets once again filled with the vibrant life of a city that has faced and overcome profound challenges. The events of 1948 serve as a reminder of the delicate balance between the earth beneath our feet and the lives we build upon it. In the quiet moments when the night settles over the city, echoes of the past can still be felt, a gentle reminder of the forces that shape our world in ways both seen and unseen. In the southern reaches of Chile, a land defined by its rugged landscapes and serene beauty, the earth holds secrets that whisper of times long past. It is here, on the 22nd of May in the year 1960, that the world experienced a tremor of such magnitude it would etch its presence into the annals of history. Known simply as the Valdivia earthquake, it stands as the most powerful earthquake ever recorded, a testament to the immense forces hidden beneath the Earth's crust. The day began much like any other, with the quiet rhythm of life carrying on amidst the lush greenery and rolling hills. Yet, beneath this tranquil facade, the tectonic plates were engaged in a slow, imperceptible dance. The Nazca Plate, driven by the relentless forces of the mantle, was slowly subducting beneath the South American plate. This gradual movement, spanning millions of years, is responsible for the majestic Andes and the seismic activity that defines the region. Without warning, the accumulated stress reached its breaking point. At 3:11 p.m. local time, the Earth heaved violently, unleashing an energy equivalent to approximately 20,000 atomic bombs. The ground convulsed with a ferocity beyond human comprehension, transforming the landscape in an instant. Buildings crumbled, roads warped, and the very ground seemed to ripple like the surface of a disturbed pond. The city of Valdivia, nestled near the epicenter, bore the brunt of this colossal upheaval. Its streets, once lined with the familiar cadence of daily life, were now a tableau of chaos and destruction. Structures that had stood for decades were reduced to rubble in mere moments. The Earth's wrath was indiscriminate, leaving few places untouched by its formidable power. Beyond the immediate devastation, the earthquake set in motion a series of events that would reverberate across the globe. The rupture beneath the Earth's surface triggered tsunamis that surged across the Pacific Ocean, reaching as far as Japan, the Philippines, and the western coast of the United States. These waves, born from the tremors of Valdivia, carried the story of the earthquake to distant shores, a reminder of the interconnectedness of our world. In the hours and days that followed, the people of Chile faced the daunting task of navigating a landscape irrevocably altered. Landslides, spurred by the unstable terrain, swept down hillsides, further compounding the challenges faced by those seeking safety. The rivers, too, responded to the seismic shift, with the Rinhuazo River altering its course, leading to concerns of potential flooding. Yet, amid the destruction, there emerged stories of resilience and the quiet determination of communities coming together. In the face of nature's overwhelming force, the people of Valdivia and surrounding regions exemplified a steadfast resolve, a testament to the enduring spirit of humanity even when confronted with the Earth's most formidable displays. As the weeks turned into months, a picture of recovery began to take shape, albeit slowly. The landscape, scarred by the earthquake, gradually settled into a new equilibrium. The tectonic plates, having released their pent-up energy, resumed their imperceptible movements, laying the groundwork for future seismic events in this ever-changing region. The Valdivia earthquake remains a profound reminder of the dynamic nature of our planet. It serves as a testament to the power of geological processes that, while largely unseen, shape the world in which we live. The forces beneath the Earth's crust continue their slow, relentless dance, a reminder that while we may find comfort in the stability of the ground beneath our feet, it is, in truth, part of an intricate and ever-evolving system. In the quiet aftermath, as the world took stock of the events of that day, the lessons of Valdivia echoed through the fields of science and engineering. The earthquake spurred advancements in seismic research, leading to a deeper understanding of the forces at play and the development of better building practices to withstand future tremors. Thus, the Valdivia earthquake, though a moment of profound upheaval, also stands as a catalyst for progress. It underscores the importance of respecting the natural processes that govern our planet, reminding us of our place within the vast tapestry of Earth's history, where each event, no matter how powerful, is but a chapter in the ongoing story of our dynamic world. In the dim hours before dawn, Tangshan lay in a fragile slumber. The industrial city, nestled in the northeastern reaches of China, was a place of routine and resilience. Its inhabitants, accustomed to the rhythms of factory life, rested under a sky that was, for the time being, serene. This was a city built upon coal and steel, a testament to human endeavor amidst the vastness of the Earth's crust. Yet, beneath the quiet streets and rows of modest homes, unseen forces were at work. The Earth's crust is a dynamic, ever-shifting mosaic of tectonic plates. These immense sections of the planet's outer shell move imperceptibly, driven by the convective currents of molten rock below. Over millennia, these movements create mountains and valleys, and sometimes they bring about sudden, dramatic shifts. On the 28th of July, 1976, just as the first light was beginning to creep over the horizon, Tangshan became the epicenter of such a shift. Without warning, the ground beneath the city gave way to a violent upheaval. In less than a minute, the tectonic plates released pent-up energy, manifesting as shockwaves that rippled through the Earth's crust. Buildings that had stood resolute for decades crumbled in an instant, and the very fabric of the city was torn apart. This seismic event, registering a magnitude of 7.5, would leave Tangshan in near total ruin. As the ground convulsed, the structures of Tangshan, many constructed without modern earthquake-resistant designs, were unable to withstand the onslaught. The collapse was almost total, with over 90% of the city's buildings reduced to rubble. The early hour meant that most residents were at home, in the vulnerable embrace of sleep, when the disaster struck. The loss of life was catastrophic, with estimates suggesting that over 240,000 people perished in the chaos. The impact of the earthquake was not confined to Tangshan alone. The tremors were felt as far away as Beijing, some 140 kilometers distant, and the shock waves reverberated across the region. Yet it was Tangshan that bore the brunt of nature's fury. In the aftermath, the city was left in a state of desolation, a haunting testament to the power of the Earth's shifting plates. The process of rescue and recovery began immediately, though it was hampered by the sheer scale of the destruction. In the absence of functioning infrastructure, survivors faced immense challenges. Roads were impassable, communication lines severed, and the air was thick with dust and despair. Yet, amidst the ruins, the indomitable spirit of the people emerged. Neighbors and strangers alike joined hands to search for loved ones, to provide aid, and to salvage what little could be saved. In the days that followed, the task of reconstruction loomed large. The Chinese government mobilized resources on an unprecedented scale, determined to rebuild Tangshan and restore its place as an industrial heartland. The recovery process was slow and arduous, spanning years and requiring the concerted effort of thousands. Yet, amidst the rubble, new structures began to rise, designed with an eye towards resilience and safety. The Tangshan earthquake remains one of the deadliest natural disasters of the 20th century. It serves as a poignant reminder of the delicate balance between humanity and the Earth's geophysical processes. Despite advancements in technology and engineering, the forces of nature continue to operate on their own in different scale. The lessons learned from Tangshan have informed seismic research and urban planning, contributing to a greater understanding of how to mitigate the impacts of such events. As the years have passed, Tangshan has transformed. From the ashes of devastation, a new city has emerged, one that honors the memory of those lost while embracing the future. The streets, once filled with rubble, now bustle with life and activity. Yet, beneath the surface, the Earth's plates remain in motion, a constant reminder of the dynamic planet we inhabit. In the end, the story of Tangshan is one of endurance and renewal. It highlights the capacity of communities to rebuild and adapt in the face of overwhelming adversity. The ground may have shifted, but the spirit of Tangshan's people remains steadfast, a testament to the enduring resilience of humanity amidst the ceaseless dance of the Earth's tectonic forces. In the chill of an Armenian December, the landscape lay quiet beneath a blanket of snow. The air was crisp, biting against the skin as the small towns nestled in the mountains prepared for another winter's day. This was a region accustomed to the rhythm of nature, where seasons came and went with a steady, predictable cadence. Yet, beneath this serene surface, forces were at play that would soon disrupt the calm in ways unimaginable. On the morning of December 7, 1988, the ground beneath Armenia stirred with an energy long accumulated. The tectonic plates, which had fit together like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, shifted abruptly. This movement, though unseen, sent shockwaves that traveled through the earth, reaching the surface with a force that transformed the landscape in mere moments. Buildings that had stood for generations were reduced to rubble, their foundations crumbling as if made of sand. The small town of Spitak found itself at the epicenter of this upheaval. Constructed largely from unreinforced masonry, its structures were ill-prepared for the sudden violence of the earth. As the ground trembled, walls buckled and roofs caved in, leaving the townscape unrecognizable. The air, once filled with the faint hum of daily life, was now thick with dust and the echoes of falling debris. In nearby towns, the story was much the same, as the seismic waves rippled outward, spreading destruction over a wide area. The city of Gyumri, a hub of cultural and industrial activity, suffered extensive damage. Here, the impact of the earthquake was not only physical, but also deeply personal, as families were torn apart in an instant. The loss of life was staggering, with thousands perishing beneath the weight of collapsed buildings. Winter's grip added another layer of challenge to the unfolding disaster. Temperatures plummeted, and the snow that had seemed so picturesque now became a barrier. Roads, already difficult to navigate under normal conditions, were made nearly impassable by the debris and ice. Rescue efforts, vital in the first hours following an earthquake, were hampered by the terrain. Heavy machinery needed to clear rubble and search for survivors struggled to reach the hardest-hit areas. The political climate, too, played a role in shaping the response to the disaster. Armenia, then a part of the Soviet Union, was subject to the bureaucratic complexities of a centralized state. Communication delays and logistical challenges slowed the mobilization of aid. The initial response was marked by a lack of coordination, as authorities grappled with the scale of the catastrophe. Despite these obstacles, local communities rallied together, demonstrating resilience in the face of overwhelming adversity. Neighbors became first responders, digging through the ruins with whatever tools they could find. Their efforts, though small in scale, were acts of profound courage and solidarity. In the days that followed, international aid began to arrive, bringing much-needed resources and expertise. Yet, the sheer magnitude of destruction meant that recovery would take years. The earthquake of 1988 left an indelible mark on Armenia, altering both its physical and social landscape. Towns, once vibrant with life, were transformed into silent memorials of what had been. The rebuilding process, slow and arduous, was a testament to human endurance and the will to persevere against great odds. In the quiet aftermath, as the snow continued to fall, Armenia began to heal. The scars of the earthquake remained, etched into the streets and buildings, but so too did the lessons learned. The importance of preparedness and resilience in the face of nature's unpredictability became a guiding principle for the future. And as the seasons turned once more, the people of Armenia carried forward, their spirit unbroken by the events of that cold December day. In the serene, sunlit expanse of southeastern Iran lies the ancient city of Bam. For centuries, it stood as a testament to human ingenuity, its landscape dominated by the imposing Bam Citadel, or Bam, a sprawling fortress of mud-brick walls that whispered stories of empires long past. The citadel, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, had endured the passage of time, surviving the wear of centuries and the caprices of weather. Its timeless architecture was an intricate tapestry of rooms and corridors, all woven from the simple earth of the Iranian plateau. The city, bustling yet tranquil, was woven into the fabric of the surrounding desert landscape. Its inhabitants lived amidst a delicate balance of tradition and modernity, their lives unfolding in the shadow of their ancient heritage. The architecture of Bam was a unique blend of the old and new, with mud brick structures standing alongside more contemporary buildings. The city's design was a testament to the symbiotic relationship between its people and the land, an adaptation to the arid climate that had sustained generations. Yet beneath this facade of permanence, an unseen tension simmered. The earth, seemingly solid and unyielding, harbored hidden fractures deep within its crust. These fault lines, silent and invisible, were the legacy of tectonic forces at work. The Arabian Plate, inching its way northward, met the resistance of the Eurasian Plate, and the pressure built quietly over the years, unnoticed by the bustling life above. In the early hours of 26 December 2003, this latent energy found its release. Without warning, the ground began to tremble, a low rumble that quickly escalated into violent shaking. The earthquake, registering a magnitude of 6.6, was mercilessly shallow, its epicenter lying almost directly beneath the city. In an instant, the ancient mud brick structures that had stood for centuries were reduced to dust and rubble. As the dawn broke, the full extent of the devastation became apparent. The proud citadel of Bam lay in ruins, its once formidable walls crumbled to the ground. The city, which had been home to over 100,000 people, was transformed into a landscape of desolation. Buildings that had stood for generations were reduced to heaps of debris, their intricate brickwork shattered by the quake's unyielding force. The mud brick architecture, while beautifully suited to the region's climate, was particularly vulnerable to the seismic forces unleashed by the earthquake. The very material that had protected its inhabitants from the desert's harshness now became their undoing. The rapid collapse of these structures left little chance for escape, and the toll on human life was catastrophic. Thousands perished beneath the rubble, their lives claimed in a matter of moments. In the aftermath, rescue efforts were hampered by the sheer scale of the devastation. The roads, once arteries of the city's life, were blocked by debris, and communication lines lay severed. The international community rallied to provide aid, yet the enormity of the task was daunting. Beneath the rubble, the cries of the trapped mingled with the silence of those who had already succumbed. The earthquake's impact extended beyond the immediate loss of life and property. Bam's cultural heritage, encapsulated in its mud brick architecture, was significantly damaged. The citadel, an enduring symbol of the region's history, was a poignant reminder of the fragility of human endeavors when faced with nature's immense power. The restoration of such heritage would require years of painstaking work, a testament to the resilience and determination of the human spirit. Over time, the city began the slow process of rebuilding. New structures rose from the ruins, constructed with modern materials designed to withstand future seismic events. Yet, the memory of the earthquake lingered, a silent reminder of the precarious balance between humanity and the natural world. The lessons learned from Bam's tragedy became a catalyst for change, informing building practices and disaster preparedness efforts across the region. As the years passed, Bam transformed once more, its scars gradually healing as life returned to the city. The spirit of its people, tempered by loss, endured. They drew strength from their shared history, rebuilding not just their homes, but their community and culture. The citadel, though scarred, stood as a symbol of resilience, its restoration a labor of love and remembrance. In the quiet moments when the wind swept through the streets and the sun cast its gentle light upon the city, Bam remained a place of reflection. It was a reminder of the enduring dance between the Earth's forces and human endeavor, a testament to the strength and fragility woven into the fabric of life. Here, amidst the echoes of the past, the city continued to evolve, its story an ever-unfolding chapter in the vast narrative of the natural world. In the vast expanses of the Indian Ocean, a world unto itself, the forces of nature quietly bide their time. Beneath the surface, where light fades to a gentle twilight, tectonic plates engage in a slow, relentless dance. These colossal slabs of Earth's crust move imperceptibly, their progress measured in mere centimeters each year. Yet, over centuries, these incremental shifts accumulate pressure along fault lines, waiting for a moment to be released. On the morning of December 26, 2004, this quiet tension reached a crescendo. A rupture occurred along the Sunda megathrust, a fault line stretching over 1,000 kilometers beneath the sea floor. In a matter of moments, the Earth's crust shifted violently, releasing energy equivalent to thousands of atomic bombs. This was one of the most powerful earthquakes recorded in modern history, measuring a staggering 9.1 to 9.3 on the Richter scale. The sea floor heaved upward, displacing massive volumes of water. At first, this movement was invisible to the human eye. The ocean surface remained deceptively calm, giving no indication of the turmoil below. But such a displacement cannot go unnoticed for long. The water, pushed out of its equilibrium, began to propagate outward in all directions as a series of waves. These waves, known as tsunamis, traveled across the ocean at speeds comparable to a jet airliner. The initial impact of the earthquake was felt most acutely off the coast of Sumatra, Indonesia. Here, the shaking was so intense that entire communities were brought to the ground. Buildings crumbled, and the land itself seemed to ripple as if it were liquid. Yet, it was not the earthquake alone that wrought devastation. The true catastrophe lay not in the trembling earth, but in the oncoming waves. Tsunamis are peculiar phenomena. In deep water, they are barely perceptible, their height often less than a meter. But as these waves approach shallower coastal waters, their character changes dramatically. The speed diminishes, but the energy remains constant, forcing the waves to rise as they compress. As they draw near to land, they transform into towering walls of water. The coastlines of multiple continents were about to experience this transformation. In Indonesia, Thailand, Sri Lanka, India, and beyond, life carried on oblivious to the approaching peril. It was the height of the holiday season, with beaches bustling with both locals and visitors. The ocean, normally a source of beauty and sustenance, became a harbinger of destruction. In places like Banda Aceh, situated on the northern tip of Sumatra, the arrival of the tsunami was swift and unforgiving. The sea receded initially, a curious and ominous sign that went unheeded by many. Within moments, the water returned with terrifying force. Buildings, trees, and vehicles were swept away as if they were mere toys in a child's bath. The power of this water was almost unimaginable. Whole villages were erased from the map, their existence reduced to debris scattered across the landscape. In the aftermath, the coastline itself was altered, reshaped by the relentless force of the waves. Survivors were left to navigate a world that was both familiar and alien, where landmarks had vanished and the terrain itself had shifted. As the tsunami radiated outward, it reached the shores of Thailand, where it struck popular tourist destinations with little warning. The waves surged inland, engulfing resorts and towns alike. For many, the first indication of danger was the sight of a wave cresting far out at sea, followed by the deafening roar of its approach. Those who could sought higher ground, but for others, the escape routes were cut off in moments. Further afield, the coasts of Sri Lanka and India felt the impact. Here, too, communities were caught unawares, lulled by the familiar rhythm of the sea. The waves showed no mercy, sweeping away all in their path. Fishermen, accustomed to the ocean's moods, found themselves at the mercy of forces beyond their comprehension. In remote areas, the scale of the disaster was compounded by isolation. Aid and rescue efforts faced immense challenges, hindered by damaged infrastructure and the sheer scope of the affected regions. Communication lines were down, and the full extent of the tragedy unfolded slowly as news trickled in from disparate locations. As the day progressed, the waves continued their journey across the vast expanse of the Indian Ocean, reaching the coastlines of Africa hours later. Even here, thousands of kilometers from the epicenter, the impact was felt. The ocean, a connector of continents, had become a conduit for disaster, linking distant shores in a shared tragedy. The Indian Ocean earthquake and the tsunamis that followed left an indelible mark on the world. The human toll was staggering, with hundreds of thousands of lives lost and countless others forever altered. In the quiet that followed, nations came together in an unprecedented outpouring of aid and support. This event, devastating as it was, served as a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of Earth's systems. It highlighted the delicate balance of forces beneath the surface and the ways in which small, imperceptible changes can accumulate over time to produce profound consequences. The ocean, a symbol of both life and destruction, had once again asserted its power. In the years since, efforts have been made to better understand and predict such events. Tsunami warning systems have been implemented, aiming to provide precious minutes of advance notice. Yet, the ocean remains a realm of mysteries, its depths concealing secrets and potentialities that elude human comprehension. As we reflect on the Indian Ocean earthquake of 2004, we are reminded of the fragile beauty of our world and the silent forces that shape it. In this vast interconnected web of life, we find both vulnerability and resilience. And so, we continue our quiet observation, ever aware of the subtle changes that ripple through the fabric of our existence. In the quiet of a January afternoon, the ground beneath Haiti began to tremble. It was the 12th day of the month in the year 2010, and the sun was slowly descending over the island, casting long shadows across the bustling streets of Port-au-Prince. The people went about their day, unaware of the imminent disturbance that lay beneath their feet. This was a land where the earth had long been stable, where the rhythms of life carried on against the backdrop of a tropical setting. The quake struck suddenly, a tremor so shallow that its force was brutally direct. It measured 7.0 on the Richter scale, a figure that belied the devastation it would unleash. The proximity of the epicenter to the city meant that the energy released was concentrated, with little to dissipate it before it reached human habitation. The earth moved in ways that were unfamiliar to the people of Haiti, a place not typically known for such violent geological activity. Buildings that had stood for decades gave way in moments. The construction across much of Port-au-Prince was fragile, a patchwork of concrete and steel that lacked the reinforcement necessary to withstand such a powerful quake. Many structures were built without adherence to seismic standards, a reflection of economic constraints and the pressures of urban expansion. Walls crumbled, roofs caved in, and entire neighborhoods were transformed into fields of debris. The air filled with dust and cries as the cityscape shifted from order to chaos. As structures fell, so too did the lives entwined within them. The loss of life was immense, a catastrophic toll that remains among the highest in recorded history for a single event. Families were torn apart in an instant, communities shattered before they could comprehend what was happening. The sheer scale of the disaster overwhelmed the nation's capacity to respond. Emergency services struggled to navigate the wreckage-strewn streets, and medical facilities were quickly inundated with the injured. In the aftermath, the world turned its gaze to Haiti. Aid began to pour in from across the globe, yet the logistics of delivering assistance were fraught with difficulty. The airport was damaged, the port was rendered unusable, and roads were blocked by debris. Despite the best intentions, the response was hampered by the very nature of the destruction. The needs were vast, the resources stretched thin, and the coordination of relief efforts became a challenge of monumental proportions. Survivors gathered in open spaces, makeshift camps springing up wherever there was room to breathe. With homes destroyed, many found themselves under the open sky, their lives reduced to essentials. There was a scarcity of clean water, food, and medical supplies, compounding the suffering of those who had already lost so much. Disease loomed as a secondary threat, the spread of illness exacerbated by the conditions in which people now lived. Yet amidst the devastation, the resilience of the human spirit shone through. Communities came together to support one another, to share what little they had, and to begin the long process of rebuilding. International aid organizations worked alongside local groups, striving to restore a semblance of stability. It was a testament to the enduring strength of the people, a reminder of the capacity for hope even when faced with overwhelming adversity. The geological forces that unleashed such destruction were a reminder of the planet's dynamic nature. The earthquake was caused by the movement along a fault line where the Caribbean and North American tectonic plates meet. This boundary, largely hidden beneath the sea, occasionally releases pent-up stress in the form of sudden, violent shifts. Over millennia, these movements shape the landscape, often imperceptibly. Yet, in moments like this, their power becomes starkly evident. As time passed, the immediate horrors of the earthquake gave way to the slow, difficult task of recovery. The world's attention, once so sharply focused, began to drift elsewhere. But for those in Haiti, the journey was just beginning. Rebuilding a city, a community from the ground up, requires patience and perseverance, qualities that the Haitian people have in abundance. It is a reminder that even in the face of natural calamity, life persists, and with it, the hope of a better future. The story of the Haiti earthquake is one of profound loss, yet it is also a narrative of resilience and recovery. The reconstruction of Port-au-Prince and the surrounding areas is ongoing, a testament to both the devastation wrought by nature and the indomitable spirit of those who survived. Each new building that rises from the ruins, each street cleared of debris, marks a step forward in the long journey of healing. In the end, the earth remains what it always has been, a complex, ever-changing system of immense power. Its shifts and tremors are part of a natural order, indifferent to the human lives they affect. Yet, within this indifference lies a profound interconnection, a reminder that we are all part of a larger whole, subject to forces far beyond our control. And so, as the people of Haiti continue to rebuild, they do so with the understanding that life, in all its fragility, carries on amidst the shifting ground. Nestled amidst the towering peaks of the Himalayas, the nation of Nepal sits quietly in the embrace of its majestic surroundings. The landscape here is both a testament to nature's grandeur and a reminder of its unpredictability. On an ordinary day in April 2015, the earth beneath Nepal's feet shifted with a force felt far beyond its mountainous borders. The tremor, deep and unrelenting, sent waves of energy through the ground, shaking the very foundations of the cities and villages perched on the slopes. Kathmandu, the capital with its centuries-old temples and bustling streets, found itself at the mercy of forces millions of years in the making. The architecture, a blend of ancient craftsmanship and modern necessity, shuddered under the strain. Temples that had stood through centuries of history began to crumble, their intricate carvings and towering spires succumbing to the relentless energy released from deep within the earth. As the dust settled, the scale of devastation became apparent. The city, known for its vibrant culture and historic significance, faced a new reality. In the aftermath, the narrow lanes that once echoed with the sounds of daily life were filled with debris, and the air carried the whispers of a profound loss. Yet even in this moment of despair, the resilience of the people shone through. Communities came together, offering solace and support amid the ruins of their shared heritage. Beyond the city, in the rural expanses, the impact was equally profound. Villages, many accessible only by narrow mountain paths, were isolated by landslides that cut off essential routes. The Earth's movement had triggered these cascading walls of rock and soil, reshaping the landscape in an instant. The villages, woven into the fabric of the hills, faced a daunting silence as the dust settled, severed from the outside world. The people of Nepal, accustomed to the rhythms of mountain life, turned to one another. In these moments of quiet determination, makeshift shelters were erected, and communal kitchens fed neighbors and strangers alike. The mountain communities, accustomed to the challenges of their environment, displayed a profound strength rooted in a deep connection to their land and traditions. The historic temples, symbols of Nepal's rich cultural legacy, lay in ruin, their restoration a daunting task ahead. The iconic Dharahara Tower, once a beacon rising above the city, had fallen, its remains a poignant reminder of both human achievement and vulnerability. Yet, These sites also became centers of hope, drawing people together in shared efforts to preserve what could be saved. In the days and weeks that followed, the global community extended its hand, offering aid and expertise. Yet, the path to recovery was long and winding, a journey of rebuilding not just physical structures, but the very spirit of a nation. The task was not merely to reconstruct what was lost, but to honor the past while forging a resilient future. Throughout the recovery, the quiet strength of the Nepalese people served as a beacon. Their efforts were not just about restoring buildings, but about nurturing the bonds that hold communities together. The process was slow, marked by small victories and setbacks, yet each step forward was a testament to human perseverance. As the years passed, the scars of the earthquake remained visible, etched into the landscape and the memories of those who lived through it. Yet, alongside these reminders was the remarkable resilience of nature itself. The seasons continued their cycle, bringing new growth and renewal to the mountainsides. The balance of life, though disrupted, began to subtly reassert itself, a quiet affirmation of nature's enduring rhythm. In the high altitudes where the air is thin and the peaks touch the sky, life continued to adapt. The flora and fauna, uniquely suited to their harsh environment, thrived in their own quiet way. This resilience, mirrored in human communities, spoke of a timeless connection between the land and its inhabitants. The earthquake of 2015 left an indelible mark on Nepal, a narrative not only of loss, but of the enduring spirit that defines this mountainous nation. As the years unfolded, the lessons learned became woven into the tapestry of daily life, guiding efforts to safeguard against future uncertainties. In this part of the world where the Earth's might is a constant companion, the story of recovery continues, a gentle reminder of the delicate balance that sustains life amidst the peaks and valleys. Amidst the echoes of the past, Nepal moves forward with quiet determination, a testament to resilience and the enduring power of community and nature intertwined.